Welcome to the 700 Club. Tensions are at an all-time high in northern Israel after a vicious Hezbollah rocket attack. Israeli warplanes struck back, hitting multiple military targets in Lebanon.
Meanwhile, hostage negotiations have broken down again in the wake of what Prime Minister Netanyahu is calling delusional demands from Hamas. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has more.
Israel pounded Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon after a Hezbollah rocket barrage killed a female Israeli soldier and wounded 9 others Wednesday. Reports from Lebanon say 16 were killed there.
We are not finishing this without returning the residents to Metula and all the communities in the north with a very high level of security.
Some 80,000 Israelis evacuated their homes in the north 4 months ago. IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi says Israel's goal is to push Hezbollah back from the border and stop the attacks, and will go to war if necessary. In the city of Khan Yunis in Gaza, Israeli forces carried out an operation against Nasser Hospital today, citing credible intelligence that Hamas had held captives there and their bodies might still be inside. Talks to free the hostages broke down again, with the State Department calling some Hamas demands non-starters. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu cited the dramatic rescue of 2 hostages earlier this week.
This is also the key to the release of most of our hostages, strong military pressure and very firm negotiations.
Meanwhile, former captives and relatives of hostages held by Hamas visited the International Criminal Court in The Hague. They want prosecutors to charge and arrest Hamas leaders.
We're hoping for justice. After October 7, we feel that there is no justice. The Hamas people, they hurt us. They murder us. They kidnap us. They raped us. We're here to make a justice.
In Washington, Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff, who is Jewish, co-hosted an event to raise awareness of Hamas's sexual violence against Israeli women on October 7th.
Torture, genital mutilation, butchery, leaving women after they've been raped and tortured to die in a ditch, all while you see the images of Hamas terrorists laughing and bragging about it. This happened. This happened to these women. This happened. So we have to shine a light on it. We have to shine a light on this sexual violence, this gender-based violence that happened.
Yesterday, the House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved a resolution condemning rape and sexual violence by Hamas in its war against Israel. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, let us do more than just shine a light on it. Let's take action. Part of that action can be for Hamas cutting off all sources of funds. Under existing anti-terrorism laws, the U.S. government has the authority to go after their accounts, to go after any country that is sending them money. And let me add to it, one of the countries sending them money has been the United States. And our taxpayers our taxes going into UNRWA. This all needs to stop because of these actions are horrific. And their pledge that they want to repeat October 7th again and again and again until Israel is wiped off the map. It's time for Hamas to end. Let us continue to put pressure on them. Unconditional surrender, release all the hostages, completely give up, and let Israel take over whatever remaining strongholds there are. And then hopefully we can come to some peace in Gaza. Turning to northern Israel, that is a flashpoint now. And there's very much a likelihood of war beginning. In this, keep in mind, Hezbollah has more weapons than many NATO countries. It's absolutely incredible, the arsenal they put together. Now, the UN has mandated the place that they've established this arsenal is supposed to be weapons-free. They've felt no problem in violating the UN mandate, so it's all against international law. Let's continue to point that out. What Hezbollah is doing, they are attacking northern Israel. They're firing barrages of rockets against them. If that were to happen in the United States, our reaction would be immediate and catastrophic for anyone who ever tried that. Let us back Israel in their right to defend themselves. In other news, a top lawmaker is under fire for an announcement on national security. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner is facing tough questions after he issued a statement calling on the Biden administration to immediately declassify information about a, quote, serious national security threat. That led to reports the intel deals with Russia's attempts to put a nuclear weapon in space, which is highly classified and already known to some members of Congress. The White House says it had already planned to brief lawmakers on the issue today. A joint statement from leaders of the Senate intelligence community reads, the committee has the intelligence in question and has been rigorously tracking the issue from the start. Turner has not yet responded to questions as to why he made the statement. Well, in Kansas City, a tragic ending to the celebration of the city's Super Bowl champions. Gunfire erupted as the parade celebrating the Kansas City Chiefs' win was just wrapping up, leaving one person dead and more than 20 injured. CBN's Wendy Griffith reports.
Nearly 1 million people had gathered to celebrate the Kansas City Chiefs at a coming home victory rally at Union Station. And then shots fired. The gunfire began just as the Super Bowl champs were leaving the stage. The crowd stunned, then trying to escape as people began to run.
All of a sudden, people started crushing forward. Everybody started running. There was screaming. We didn't know what was happening, but this day and age, when people run, you run.
Officers with guns drawn running through the crowd. This video appears to show Chiefs fans chasing a suspect and taking him down. Another video showing law enforcement tackling another person to the ground. One person, Lisa Lopez Galvin, a mother of two, a beloved local disc jockey and diehard Chiefs fan, died during surgery after being shot. Multiple others injured. First responders treated victims on the ground, ferrying patients on stretchers to waiting ambulances. Back at the scene, snipers scanning the crowd from rooftops.
We heard gunshots, but we thought they were fireworks, so half of us didn't really respond to it.
I'm angry at what happened today. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment. We had over 800 law enforcement officers, Kansas City and other agencies, at the location to keep everyone safe. Because of bad actors, which were very few, this tragedy occurred.
Quarterback Patrick Mahomes posting on social media that he's praying for Kansas City. And tight end Travis Kelce saying he's heartbroken. The children injured in this mass shooting are expected to be okay, but officials say multiple adults are also suffering from injuries. Investigators are still looking into a motive behind this deadly shooting. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Tragic, and many are joining them in prayer. Well, now to the abortion battle in America and a federal law that pro-lifers say is being weaponized against them. 6 pro-life advocates could be sentenced to more than 10 years in prison on felony charges that include violations of what's called the FACE Act. CBN's Mark Martin has a story.
You need to leave her alone. This is harassment.
Do you know how many moms that we've...
harassment.
It's not harassment.
Go back to...
I'm gonna wait for him. Do you know how many moms that we've helped? I can show you pictures of babies who've made it.
This plea for a woman not to abort her baby happened in 2021 outside a Tennessee abortion clinic. Here, a clinic worker confronts a protester blocking a door.
You need to move, sir. The police are on their way.
Okay.
You will all be forcibly removed.
Okay, ma'am.
You need to move.
No, ma'am.
A federal jury recently convicted 6 protesters of felony conspiracy and violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, also known as the FACE Act. Among those convicted, pro-life advocate Paul Vaughn, whose attorney argues the law itself is the problem.
So it's all about abortion. And since the Dobbs decision in 2022, exposing for all the world to see that there never really was any federal constitutional right to abortion, the Biden administration has used the FACE Act to target pro-life Christians in particular for exercising perfectly peaceful, nonviolent, civil disobedience sit-ins kind of thing like this.
In a statement, a U.S. attorney called the verdict a victory for the rule of law and said the defendants knowingly chose to violate laws they disagreed with. Vaughn says that's not true in his case.
There was no knowingly breaking any laws. As a matter of fact, I have a 2-year-old that was due that week of the event, and I knowingly and intentionally avoided breaking any laws at the risk of not being at her birth.
The FACE Act prohibits not only actions targeting an abortion clinic, but also actions targeting churches and pro-life pregnancy centers. Well, since the announcement of the Dobbs decision in 2022, literally hundreds of pro-life pregnancy centers and churches have been attacked, vandalized, even firebombed. And guess what? The so-called rule of law mentioned by the U.S. attorney has been almost entirely ignored by our weaponized Department of Justice and FBI.
Emily Aaron Davis with Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America agrees the act is not applied equally.
Originally, the bill was touted to make sure that both sides were equally protected. But like I've said, we have not seen that enacted. And that's why we at Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America are saying, look, that is not coming through in practice. That's why we are calling to repeal the FACE Act.
Crampton and his client plan to appeal the ruling. If unsuccessful, Vaughn could face a steep penalty. You have a wife and 11 kids. You could go to prison for more than 10 years. Is it worth it, everything you've gone through?
The reality is they talk about they're going to take away 10 years of my life. But as a Christian, I've already laid my life down. And so they can't take what I willingly give. And I think that's the principles we have to live by.
Mark Martin, CBN News.
Thanks for that report, Mark. Gordon, back to you.
Well, it's clear there's unequal enforcement of the law, and whenever you have that, you just inflame people. It doesn't mean your justice. Where is justice in this? If you're not going to protect pro-life clinics, crisis pregnancy centers, if you're not going to extend to them the same protection, what in the world is the government doing? What in the world is our culture doing? You can be a Palestinian protester and shut down traffic, and you're not facing a 10-year sentence. In fact, you're not even facing arrest. You can go into a mall in California and take everything out of it, and nobody's going to stop you. If a security guard tries to stop you, the law is going to go after the security guard, not you. We've turned everything upside down, and it's no wonder Americans are going, I can't go into public anymore. I can't do anything anymore. Where's the police? Where's my government? Is my government against me? What is happening? We've got to come to some kind of agreement. What in the world is justice doing in America today?